Hiya. I was asked for this video and I thought it was a great idea. So if you are interested in hearing about how I became a wide open-minded agnostic girl, stick around. When I was growing up, my family pretty much never talked about religion. We didn't go to church. I don't even remember when I found out about God. It wasn't talked about at all as a kid. In my early 20s, I started seeking out God, partially because I was just curious about the whole thing, frankly, and partially because I was hoping, that was when I was starting to sort of understand that my brain might work a little different than other people's brains, and I sure would like some help with that. And maybe if I found, God, that I would have some sort of, strength or whatever, and it might help with that, problem I was having. But also there was just, an awful lot of curiosity involved. So I started reading kind of almost every spiritual text. I don't know, that's probably an exaggeration, but a lot of different spiritual texts. I read the Bible, I read the Quran, I think I read the Torah, or at least parts of the Torah. I read about Huna, which is a Hawaiian religion. I read about Wicca, and I learned an awful lot from all of those things. A lot of it was very similar, based on love and acceptance and, helping one another, and all of that stuff really struck resonance with me. But it still didn't fully explain everything to me, things I wanted to understand about the universe and why things work the way that they work. But then in my very early 20s, my mom turned me on to a book called Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. The basic premise is Neale Donald Walsch believes, I don't know anymore what I believe, we'll get to the end of this, but believes that he had actual conversations with God, and that he was able to ask God an awful lot of questions, and God answered him. And then he put it in this book, which really nailed what I thought, oh, okay, it all makes sense. Everything that we deal with here on this here earth, it makes sense. We choose to come down here. We have lessons to learn. It's about evolving our soul. It's, it's a choice that we're making. And even the bad stuff, it has a reason. And it felt so right on, smack dab on with what I felt made sense. And it felt so perfect, and it resonated so deeply that I just believed it. I just believed it with everything in me. And it was how everything was framed by that. I believed it so much that I thought there's no way I could be wrong, right? This is definitely real, because I feel too strongly that it's real in order for it not to be real. And that's how I functioned in life for years. And then 9/11 happened. And I realized that the people that did 9/11, they believed what they believed so strongly, clearly more strongly than I did, because they were willing to get on a plane and not only hurt other people in the name of what they believed, but sacrifice themselves in the name of what they believed. And that kind of belief is big, right? super big. And when I started realizing that, when I really got my gosh, their belief system was so strong that they were willing to do this for it, something so horrific, it made me go I still regret to this day that my brain brought this question up in my head. But it was if they can believe that strongly and be wrong, I know that they're wrong. I know that God, Allah, whatever name you have for the Creator, would not want that. I know that. There's just no way. I mean, maybe I want to believe that, because I cannot believe that we were created by somebody who would encourage that or even be okay with that. And if they can be wrong about their belief with the conviction that they had behind it, that might mean I could be wrong. Oh, no. And it wasn't long after my brain posed that question before this strong, convicted belief that I had been living with had been dismantled. Because if they can be wrong, I can be wrong. And if I can be wrong, maybe I am wrong. And shoot, maybe it's all BS. And dang, the letdown, the disappointment, living with a super strong convicted belief that there is a creator that loves us, that made us for a reason, that is watching over us, that there is someplace better to go after all of this. It makes life so much easier to live. Like, it's just such a more comforting, pleasant experience when you believe that. And when it's gone, it's like losing your very super soft, loving, warm blanket on a really cold night, and now you just have to shiver for the rest of the dang old time. It took away everything comforting and understandable about the world. And I hated it. I hated it. I still to this day hate it. I would still give anything to this day to get that feeling back where, like, I know he's out there, she's out there, and they're watching me and they love me and it's going to be okay. You know, in the end, it's going to be okay. For a long, long time, I just didn't believe at all. I think that, you know, believing as strongly as I did and then having the doubt come in and just sort of crumble that all to the ground, it just turned me all the way into the other place where I just thought it just doesn't even exist at all, and was pretty freaking convicted in that regard. Well, okay, if I was wrong about it existing, then I must be right about it not existing. And I just lived with that for many, many years, and it wasn't fun. I just got to tell you, there wasn't no fun happening during that time. Then one day I'm driving, and I think she was, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, daughter in the back seat. She starts asking me about the earth and the sun, and I can't remember exactly what she was asking, but I was explaining to her how, you know, the sun we are just like the perfect distance from the sun, and we're turning at the perfect amount of time and rotating at the perfect speed, and like everything is just so perfect in order for the sun to support life on Earth, and how rare that is and how cool that is. And it just dawned on me, okay, that is pretty freaking perfect. That is pretty freaking perfect. How did all of that happen on accident? All of the things that had to happen perfectly, precisely in order for us to exist on this planet, doing the things that we're doing every single day. And that little opening was like, how could it have happened on accident? And if it didn't happen on accident, maybe somebody did it. And thank goodness for that day, because it opened up the possibilities. But here was the thing. It still felt completely preposterous to me. Like, the idea that there is this creator being out there who's just always existed somehow is just preposterous. There's no other word for it. It doesn't make any sense. But also the idea that all of this just happened on accident and the little amoebas crawled up from the ocean and someday here we are, woohoo, and like that the sun is where it is and we're where we're at and we're doing all the things that we're supposed to do in order for all of this to exist, like that to me has now become equally preposterous. There's no freaking way that it's all on accident. While at the same time, the idea of God and that somehow this is all perfectly designed is just as equally preposterous to me. Like, I cannot wrap my head around either of those things as being possible, like a possibility. And yet one of them has to be true. One of them is closer to the truth than the other, right? Which one that is, I haven't got a clue. I do not know. And when that happened, when I realized that both possibilities were equally ridiculous to me, and that meant that both possibilities were equally possible, it opened me up to this idea that anything then is possible. If God is possible, if that is a possibility, maybe there's mermaids out there. Maybe. If this all just happened by accident and it was just like spontaneous kaploop and here we are, maybe fairies exist. That is what ended up happening after that conversation. And it took a little while. I very slowly started opening my mind to the possibilities of God. And by the time I had gotten to the place where, okay, maybe God is out there And maybe there is a reason for all of this. Hopefully, God really does love us. Although there is a part of me sometimes that thinks that perhaps we're just some science experiment that he's doing, and he's really just like sitting back to see how if I mix this chemical and this chemical, what kind of reaction am I going to get to witness over here? Like maybe we're just entertainment for him. But that's the thing, right? Like any of it could be possible. So when people say to me, I really wish you would open your mind to the possibility of Jesus loving you, being there, helping you, or Allah wants you to follow him, and Allah wants you to feel peace, and you know, these things, like yes, that could very well be true. I am not over here saying that that's not. I am over here wide open to it. I have been like, okay, I am so ready. I am so ready to believe again. I am wide open. There are no doors closed. I am putting no barriers up. It could all be true. And I am ready to believe, because that really is like a nicer way to live. To me, it's a nicer way to live. Although I will say it's kind of fun to like think, well, maybe all of it is possible as well. Like humans exchanging energy. Maybe. What is it? Schrodinger's cat? Absolutely. Is it Schrodinger? You know who I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. I'll link a thing. It's a quantum mechanics thing, which I should say that also had a part of, because I started reading about quantum mechanics and the whole cat in the box thing, and how light is both a particle and a wave at the same time, and how shit collapses, and we don't even know how stuff is going to be until we actually witness it. We have to witness it in order for it to actually happen. And what the frack? And that is something that has been proven with science, and it blows my mind. And that is definitely part of how I came to be where I am now, which is agnostic as frack and frick and frack. And by agnostic, I mean not that I think, I doubt that any of it is true. No. That's not the kind of agnostic I am. It is all possible. I doubt nothing. I think any of it could end up being true. And I guess we won't know until we move on from this world. And I'm really excited to find out someday, because I just think it's all possible. And that's actually a pretty cool place to be. It's not quite as comforting as just believing with all my heart and soul, but it is exciting and energizing in a way that I really do enjoy. So, I'm really glad not to be an atheist anymore, because that is just not a fun way to believe in the world. For me, this is all just for me, obviously. But I like the idea that I can go, maybe, to all these things. So my door does and always will stand ajar with a big old welcome sign on it. Anytime Jesus or God or whatever word we have for him, I believe there are many, or her, that's the thing, who knows? Probably not either one, honestly. I am one of these gals who believes that gender is just kind of made up. So that there is how I became agnostic as fuck. And my assurance to you that whatever it is you believe, I respect it, and I think it very well could be true. And I just like getting excited about the possibilities, because that's fun. As always, I would love to hear what you have to say about all of this in the comments. Maybe tell me a little bit about your story. Obviously, keep it respectful. I know this is something that people are very, they take to heart, and they take it very seriously. And I fully get that, and I respect that. But, try to be respectful. Well, not just try, do it. If you're going to be in the wayward comments, you please be respectful, dang it, because we're all just doing the best that we possibly can on here. And you don't get to choose what you believe either, if you did, I would not have spent many years an atheist. I would have just believed, because that's so much more pleasant of an experience. So don't judge somebody on what they believe, because we don't choose that. But I would like to hear from you. So tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel. Tell me your journey if you want to. And thank you very much for listening to mine. I'm really glad you were here, and I really hope I get to see you again. And that is all I have to say on that. So love you. Bye.